Morning. Thanks for being here. So today, before we even start, um, you might want to grab some kind of a strap or a belt or something like this. You can, there's yoga straps, but um, yeah, anything like this, even like a long sock can work. And it's also not mandatory, it just is a little enhancer for some of the footwork we're going to do. So today we'll be working a lot with the feet, but then that'll just move us into some other kind of flow practice here, staying connected to practicing keeping our awareness around the feet. So let's just start with a moment of being still, practicing. The body is pretty kinetic. It's just kind of like moving. The eyes are looking around, and so we start by consciously arriving and being here. So maybe take a couple breaths, deeper breaths. You close your eyes. And just recognizing that you got yourself here. Maybe you're closed in a room inside your house. It's really wonderful practice to seclude yourself right in your own home. Choosing to put everything down, let go of any distractions around you. Put everything down. One thing we could wake up and really notice is that in the present moment, we're usually giving all our attention to our thinking, and the mind creates our world. It's good to see, kind of look behind the curtain and see everything else that's really happening in this moment. Bring your awareness fully to your body. The body is always kind of trying to talk to you. Sending you all sorts of sensations. So we turn our full awareness now to the body with great care. How are you doing today? So breathe deeply into the body, like those little tendrils of breath, just moving into the body. Oh yeah, now I'm turning my ear that direction. We might notice what we weren't really noticing fully. And then there is just that feeling tone also, kind of an emotional background. What emotions or feelings are present right now? Oftentimes, there's some little thorns of dukkha there, some sense of being not satisfied, wanting things to be a little different, that underlying quality. This might shift as we bring ourselves really into the present. So it shifts when we really welcome in everything just as it is. Like right now, I don't need things to be any different. We can consciously do this. And then there is awareness of the thoughts. What are the little whirlpools in the mind today? What's circling around? Just seeing that in the moment that we really look at it, we often shift and change. But now lifting up through the spine and just let your head move a little bit. Side to side, you might do some kind of a little head roll. But keep lots of space in your chest as you're doing this. It might feel a little bit like you're lifting your chest. And recognizing how the head, it almost is like a little bowling ball that's balanced on the top of the spine. And if we're not aware, we end up with the head just kind of dropping and hanging a little bit. So we could wake up just that effort of like, oh, lifting right up through the right top, very crown of your head. Then breathe into your side ribs. Like, oh, I'm wide, not only lengthening, getting tall, but there's this space across the chest. Good. Let's go ahead and release seated pose. So, if you just joined in, I reminded folks that we're going to use a strap today, but it's not 100% mandatory. Feel free to jump up and grab something like a strap or a belt. So we're going to go right onto the back side. And I'm going to just describe. And a lot of this is going to be just the work of repetition. So when you recline, take your strap right at your heel, like right in the front of your heel. And then just start to extend the bottom left leg. Feel your whole back body and start to grow and straighten both legs. Reach up through that strap. So there's just that touch point of the strap. If you don't have the strap, you could lightly hold onto your leg or just drop your arms down. Either way, you're bringing that energy and awareness through your legs. Breathe. Now make sure that there's space around your chest. You're not gripping your throat at all. And we're going to just start waking up with the flexion of your ankle. So the ankle does these two, they're both described as flexion. So you're going to reach up your toes towards the ceiling. So this is called plantar flexion, where you're pulling your heel down, kind of pulling your heel in. And then you do the opposite where you pull your toes down towards the floor and you reach up through your heels, straight up. Like your inner and outer heel are reaching straight up. And then as you point the foot up, this is more like reaching the ball of the foot towards the ceiling, and the inner ball of the foot, the outer ball of the foot reaching straight up. And now just do this back and forth. And as you're exploring this, remember that we are also paying attention to the energy moving in the body and this quality of freedom. We could even describe it as being relaxed and connecting with the goodness of doing this work. Good. Now go ahead and pause that action and just have the sole of the foot pointing right up to the ceiling as if you were standing on the ceiling. Now we're just going to move the toes. So you're going to take your big toe and pull it down towards you. So it's really if you can focus on just your big toe, pointing down to the floor. And then the big toe reaching up towards the ceiling, reaching up. And then pull it down again and see if you can get into just that big toe moving. This might be really challenging, but just keep working back and forth. Other toes might try to help. And then go to your other four toes and point those four toes up to the ceiling and then reach them down towards the floor and just go back and forth. As best as you can, you're just moving your toes, not so much the whole foot. So like your ankle isn't moving. Good. And now all five toes reach up to the ceiling and then pull down towards the floor. Just the toes back and forth. Ah, good. And then as you let that go, you will switch legs. So bring that right leg down, extend the right leg against the floor, reaching up the left leg and just straighten the leg at first. Now, I didn't say this on the first side, but if your knees need to stay a little bit bent, of course that is just fine, because we don't want to increase our stress at all. There's a sense like, I'm letting go of stress. Now, just your ankle is going to move into those two, the flexion of your ankle. So the whole foot is moving, reaching up through the ball of the foot, or the toes reaching to the ceiling, and then pull the toes down. Heel reaching up, back and forth. Do this evenly so you're not rotating the foot at all. Breathe, keeping that energy that the legs are straightening here. Breathe through your nose. Feel the whole body. Now pause with the sole of the foot pointing to the ceiling, and then just your big toe starts to pull down towards the floor, and then that big toe reaching up to the ceiling like it could point to the ceiling, and then it pulls down again and then up, and just repeat that like you're just waking up all the little muscles that move your big toe. Good. And then just move to the other four toes. They pull down, they reach up to the ceiling. And I know this can be hard to do without moving your ankle. So let it be just your toes. You're waking up the toes. And then all five toes reach to the ceiling, pull down, back and forth. Good. And then as you let this go, hug both knees into the chest. Squeeze in. And then hold onto your legs as your legs extend out to the side so the legs are wide apart. And as you do this, really bring weight to your sacrum. So you don't want to be like pulling your navel down. You're lengthening your back. You might even have a lumbar curve. Now rotate the feet around. Circle, circle, circle. Now don't be surprised as we do this work if you feel a lot of fatigue of like, oh my gosh, this is hard to really do this. These are a lot of muscles you probably don't work a lot. Go the other way, circle the feet around. Breathing. Yeah, and then bend the knees, bring the legs together. Why not? Since we're here, we're going to do a twist. Reach arms way out to the side. So now the legs stay glued together. And just drop the legs a little to your right. And then up and over to your left. And as you start to do this back and forth, and as the spine is twisting, please breathe and feel your spine. I like to think of this, we're actually practicing rather than overthinking, which what the human brain tends to do. We're over feeling. So we're practicing feeling, and then responding to what we're really feeling here. So it's almost like a more direct connection to the body rather than thinking about the body. Because that's when the brain just starts to get into its stories. It jumps into the past, what your body used to be like. So you're right here, enjoying this twist. Is it a big twist? Is it a small twist? It doesn't matter. Good. And then roll to one side. And as you come up here, you're going to just move to a seated pose. So somehow seated, and I'm going to shift a little bit so that you can get a closer look at my feet. So we're going to go directly now to working with your feet, your legs, or crossing the legs here. So I'm going to cross my legs like so, where I can have access to my foot here. Now that bottom leg also can be extended out straight. It really doesn't matter. It's about this foot. So the first thing you're going to do is just kind of spread your toes here using your hands and spreading your toes wide. And then if it's okay, you could keep doing that, or you could take the fingers of, so if I have my right leg, and take my other hand and just knit my fingers in between my toes. Okay, so I'm putting right in there. And if that feels like, ouch, that hurts, then you don't do it. You could just kind of keep manually kind of spreading your toes. And you might even really knit the fingers in there. I know for this foot, this is my foot that has a bunion, so I'm being very tender with it. And then just start to take a little back and forth with the toes. Kind of like we were just doing, but now it's a little more manipulating this back and forth. Good. And then actually use the strength of your foot and hold your fingers like you're gripping, holding on. Really work that. briefly release, and then just do that again. Just so you're gripping your toes onto your fingers. Good. And then just shake your toes. Just do this shaking action. And then stay here for a moment and then just take the foot as if you were twisting the front of the foot. Not so much again your ankle, but just that front of the foot. You're kind of twisting this. Again, I can feel this a little bit in my bunion, so I'm being careful. So good to spend time with areas of the body that are speaking to you and you're listening to them. Good. So as you let your fingers go out of there, just briefly give a big foot massage here. So I'm using my thumbs. I'm just right below the toes, just working down towards the arch of the foot, pressing, kind of digging in there a little bit. Always breathing whenever we're getting a massage, and work the thumbs back up. Good. Spread the toes again, and again, a little folding back and forth. Breathe. Good. And then we'll just let go of that. Extend that leg. You're just going to switch legs. Whatever feels right here. And just start by spreading your toes, just kind of pulling them apart a little bit, lengthening your toes. And use your intuition here. Like my toes, they love being pulled. So I pull them. And then knit your fingers in there, just one at a time. Get maybe your fingertips between your toes. We're creating space. We do a lot of this in this class. Of yoga is a lot about creating space in your body. And just start to do a little back and forth. These, flexion. This is actually flexion and extension through your toes. Being sensitive to your joints. If this is ouchy at all, you could take your fingers out. Good. And then pause. And then just squeeze your toe, like your toes are trying to hold on, like making a fist. Gripping your toes on your fingers. Release that. And then grip again. Just contracting your toes. And releasing, and then just a little shake. Shaking your toes, loosen. Good. And then the twisting, you're kind of back and forth, like just twisting this, just the front of the foot. And then as you release that, the massage. So just take thumbs right below the toes. So that's the ball of your foot. Again, using intuition of how much pressure I'm starting to work down towards the arch of my foot. Pressing, pressing, pressing. Working back up towards the toes. Good morning, feet. Good. A little pull of the toes again and back and forth. Big waking up. Great. And then as you let this go, undo the legs. So let's go right back to our mat. And as you go to your mat, you're gonna come to standing. Okay. So you're gonna move to the kind of back end of your mat. And this is what I call the funny walk series. So we're going to start just with the feet, the toes wide apart. You're just going to lift and lower your heels a little bit, just explore that. So this is not only, stretching, but this footwork is a lot of strengthening also. It's just lifting, lowering the heels. And now keep the heels lifted. Start to walk on the balls of your feet. Make sure, like you can notice, like my ankles are lifting straight up. I'm not bowing my ankles out to the side, but that takes effort of really lifting up. Toes are spreading, opening apart. Walk towards the front of your mat, and then you turn around. I know it is a little bit like high heels, but the toes are really spread. You have a lot of space. And then as you drop the heels down here, you're going to do the opposite. So you're going to lift the front of the feet. You're going to walk on your heels. Again, don't roll to the outer heels. You're just very even balance. You might feel this like pulling up through your legs as you're doing this. Breathing, lots of space in your chest. Tall. Walking back where you came from. Good. As you bring the feet down. So now we're going to lift the inner arches of your feet. And you are going to walk on the outer edges of your feet, just rolling through. Rolling through the sides of the feet. And then as you're finishing that, then of course, we're going to lift the outer edges of the feet. Try not to like droop your knees in as you do this. So keep the legs straight and walking on the inner edges of your feet. Try not to tighten your breath here, so you get all constricted. Feeling. So part of mindfulness centered on the body is, oh yeah, I'm feeling my whole body as I'm doing this. Good. Good. As you pause here, let's just do a little, we're going to do a little hopping, a little jumping. Now you could have like just your heels. So as you do this, I'm just kind of lifting my heels. I'm just doing a little pound, 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 pound. Or if it's okay, jumping. So there's a little springiness here. Good. And then pause. Mountain pose. So as you come to mountain pose, let's do the variation where you do take the feet really close together. When you bring the feet close together, you might feel the inner legs, like the whole inner legs, kind of pulling in together. So the weight on your feet is not at all towards the outer edges of your feet. You're pressing straight down. So in mountain pose, we take the arms right down to the sides of the body. Grounding the heels, lift up through the crown of the head. Even close your eyes here. Breathing, align through your throat. There might be that lift of your pelvic floor, lifting up slightly. Right up through the very crown of your head. Now, because we're working on really keeping the feet very open, not contracting the soles of your feet at all, you're going to take tree pose, but I'm going to suggest that you touch the wall, that you have a little touch of the wall, so that bottom foot is not struggling or straining to grip. So with that little touch of the wall, if I take right fingers to the wall and balance on the right leg, can really feel the sole of that right foot. And then the strength also. So there's it's not so much a gripping, but the strength around my ankle, up through that right leg, taking your left leg wherever you want. So it's a little more of a self-study. As like, how can I move into tree pose? Keep part of your awareness at your foot, at the sole of your foot. And investigate. There's probably a lot of weight at your heel, specifically the front of your heel, not way back at the back of the heel, but there is that region, just the front of the heel. The base of your big toe is pushing down, is grounding down. Taller, taller. This pose getting, but the taller is almost like more space that you're bringing awareness to how the inside of the body feels as you're doing this. Feel the work, like there might be fatigue coming in. You feel like, ooh, right hip is working or the right ankle, even the back muscles. How does your tree pose feel today? Feel. Switch. So establishing then that left foot, that feeling, the balance. So we want to feel the tendencies like, oh, do I lean forward in this pose? So it's from that deep inner awareness. So with that little touch of the wall, you might really get that steadiness so you can explore the sole of the foot. And it's good to feel the soles of both feet here. Like, well, what is happening in your right foot? The toes are spreading, opening a bit, just that quality of being free and open. The strength that lifts up through the standing leg, all the way up through the spine, the lightness in the throat. There's no real plan of how you're going to do this today. Just feeling, exploring, space within, space around your brain. Soft lips. Good. As you're letting go, as you release this, you're going to come back to your mat. So we're going to move to a forward bend, but I would love for you to keep your legs straight. So maybe that involves nothing. Maybe you can just lightly touch the floor in your forward bend, or you might bring in a yoga block or two, or maybe even a chair or a couch or something that you use as you go to your forward bend, so legs are straight. And then in your forward bend, looking down at your toes. Or just feeling and sensing your toes, because now we're going to do that work again where you lift your big toes. You just lift your big toes up. And then you switch. Your big toes are down. You lift all the other 8 toes. and you switch. Now notice as you're doing this, if you tend to roll the feet out or you droop the feet in. So that's called, the pronation and supination. Pronation is when we kind of drop the inner arches of the feet. Supination is we roll to the outer edges. So we don't want to do either of those as you do this toe work back and forth. So it might feel then that your ankles are just pulling and lifting straight up. And you are breathing as you do this. Good, the toes stay extended, kind of reaching out long. Feeling this, feeling the body. What does this feel like through your feet and your ankles, even through your legs? Try not to overthink. The mind can get all frustrated here. Like, why can't I do this? Good. And then just wiggle your toes. Just really let them move. Good. Now, wherever you are, you're going to go right to down dog. So, hands maybe walking forward, just moving. Breathing, pressing into your hands. Now, in down dog, imagine or just feel the space of your palms really opening up. And then lightly touch your knees down and maybe sit back for a moment. So in downward facing dog, we bring weight into what is called the horseshoe of the hands. So if you imagine that horseshoe shape, which means that from your inner and outer wrist, around the circle of the palm. So what happens is this avoids this area of your carpal tunnel. So you do not want to be jamming this carpal tunnel area, pushing down to the floor, which we can do in down dog. Sometimes we really push down that carpal tunnel. So now go ahead back into your down dog and get that feeling of the horseshoe, that you're grounding your hands down. And there's that little lift of your carpal tunnel. It's almost like there is a tunnel. Look back to your feet. Reach your heels way down. So possibly you could even lift your toes up a little bit. Breathe, and then take little steps forward, and come all the way up to standing, all the way up. Reach the arms out, reach the arms up, feel your feet, and then move to some sun. Let's do a little slow motion sun breaths where you reach the arms way out, and then you fold over. Really strong legs. Drop your head, and then you push into your feet, and you come all the way up. So you're just breathing as you do this. Breathing and moving, sensing the strength and how this just starts to loosen, deepen the mobility of your joints. Like if there's any stiffness, you just keep breathing and kind of flowing here. Breath is flowing. Feel the soles of your feet as you're doing this. Now let's go ahead and in your forward bend, you just move right back to your down dog. And we'll just kind of flow this through. sun salutation here from your down dog. Let's do that little plank pose and then back to down dog. Feel your hands and your feet as you go back and forth, especially that, the soles of the feet, the spreading of your toes, that maybe that little toe stretch that you get in your plank pose. Your ankles are strong and your wrists are strong. You're building kind of a feeling of being really light and buoyant as you go back and forth between these two. And that benefits, through your ankles and your wrists, that kind of light, lifted. Good. Lightly touch your knees down. So you're holding your knee down plank. Draw your tailbone in. Don't drop your head. So feel like lifting your head up. Really draw your tailbone in. Good. Slowly lower down to your mat and reach your legs back. Now, as you reach your legs back, in Cobra pose, you want to explore the hands. So hands are not way up forward. You're going to drag your hands back a little bit. And as you do that, this be led by your elbows pulling back, and therefore your shoulder blades pulling back. And the more you do that, the more you pull back, this is going to lift you up towards your cobra. Like you draw your shoulder blades down and your collarbones lift up. Keeping well grounded your pubic bone. And it might feel like your tailbone is drawing down towards the floor. Yes, you will use your glutes to do that. So the throat is really lengthened. Lift the very top of your throat up so you can feel space in your throat and your mouth. So the sense here should be that your neck is really long. Go ahead and release down so forehead touches. Now, as we lift into this, there are some schools of yoga that say you should be straightening your arms in your cobra pose. Let's see what happens if we do that. Start by grounding your pubic bone down. And then lengthen the spine, start to lift up here. Shoulder blades pull down, the elbows kind of pull in towards the sides of your body. So here you could lift your hands up. This is the two variations of cobra pose, is whether you're using your arms or you're not. So if you're lifting your hands, you're using your back strength. Push your hands now down to the floor and use your arm strength to start to lift higher. Now, for most people, it's almost impossible to straighten your arms. You're starting to lift up, but elbows stay bent. Reach your chest forward. So really important, you're not listening to me now. You're going to listen to your spine. If you lift any higher, if you start to straighten your arms. Shoulders stay down. Those upper arm bones stay hugging in. They're not winging out. Lift up. And then release down. Touch your forehead down. And just notice how that felt in your spine. It's a very strong variation. And it's demanding on your spine as you move into that back bend. We'll go one more time. You lift up. Lift your hands for a moment. No arm strength, no arm assist. And then as you push the hands down, make sure you do not lift your shoulders up as you lift into this. Shoulder blades stay down. You lift your collarbones up. Lifting. Draw your tailbone in. Lift up here. Get to know your spine. Releasing down. Now toes will tuck under. Please keep shoulders away from your ears as you go to down dog. Pushing your hands, lifting up, breathing, breathing as you feel this counter pose of down dog. Getting lighter. Imagine deepen your hips, lifting up. And then just walk the feet forward towards your hands. Coming up. All the way up. And take palms together in front of your heart. And just pause here. Close your eyes. Feel your body. So it is easier to kind of quiet the mind, quiet the connection to the body. When we're just standing or sitting in an easy posture. So it's good to take these moments during your yoga practice. We're going to kind of swirl through a couple more sun salutations here and just take a couple standing poses. So right at the front of the mat, palms together, ground your heels, open the soles of your feet, really nice and open. Let's keep that, part of the awareness at the feet. Lift up through the spine, the shoulders melt down. Arms sweeping up. And then take a little sitting squat pose. Really pay attention, soles of the feet open. Don't droop your ankles at all. So this could take some mindfulness to see what happens in your feet as you're sitting. In this pose, your weight is at your heels, like your toes should be really light. Lift up to the spine. Now arms reach way out to the side and fold forward. Let the legs straighten, like you're lifting the inner edges of the legs. Lift up your inner thighs. And then move back to your down dog. Breathe and feel. Feel the horseshoe of the hands, the length of your neck, and then lightly to your plank pose. Just you're hovering here. You might be hovering and trembling. Knees lightly touch down, move on onto your belly, and exploring now your cobra pose. Make sure you're not just overthinking, you're overfeeling. As you breathe and move into whatever variation you want to move into. If you want to work at the lower body, you might lengthen and lift your legs. Keeping the throat really open, spacious, breath. Moving internal body. Lots of space. Move now back to your down dog. As you reach your heels down, you untuck your tailbone. This is going to then provide that strength or that stretch for the backs of your legs. So we're going to lift the heels way up, even lift your navel way up and step your right foot forward. Big step. Let's move to our lift up. So really straighten the back leg. Lift up to the spine. Stay very grounded here. Soles of the feet open. So in down dog, notice, let's do down dog with your hands. So you would flex at your wrist, right? So there's that angle in the wrist. So let's point the fingers the other way as you bring your hands behind you and interlace your fingers. So this is that counter pose for down dog wrists. Getting that little stretch through your wrist, that counter action as you open across your chest. Lift the pelvic floor. Release the fingers, arms reach way up. We're going to open to warrior two. Back heel drops. Front knee starts to bend. Your chest faces the left as you reach your arms front and back. Bending right knee. Lift your toes a little bit and open the soles of your feet. Space in warrior two. Breathing and feeling. Even imagine space in your spine. The back arm comes up and you face the front of your mat back to your down dog. Breathing. Sharp angle in your hips. As you take a breath, really conscious that you're present. I'm not in the past, I'm not in the future. I can consciously bring my full awareness to the present. Move to your plank. A little smile on your lips. Really straighten your knees. If you want to practice lowering straight down, lift your knees like you're working your kneecaps lifting up as you lower straight down. Your cobra or your back bend, whatever your body wants to do. Notice what happened, like what the mind does when I give you an option of practicing whatever back bend you want to do here. Down dog. The lift of the heels way up. Lift your navel as you step the left foot forward. And we move to crescent pose. So taking a moment, adjust. So back leg can straighten. Lifting up here. Reach the arms out. Be aware of the soles of the feet. They're not contracting. Really open. Again, instead of like the down dog wrists, that flexion of the wrist, we're going to go the other way as you take the hands behind you, interlace your fingers. Wide across the chest, the lift of the navel. Right up to the crown of the head. Imagine that space, like straight up. As you release your fingers, you reach the arms up, and then you drop the right heel, open to your warrior two. You might adjust your feet a little bit, that lift of the toes. Feeling will quiet the mind. So no matter what, you're opening to the way things are right now. This time, now the arms are going to drop down and that back right foot is going to step forward. Feet parallel right into your mountain pose. Close your eyes, quiet. Breathing. So we're going to move through what's called the moon salutation. So this means that you are going to start on the right side of your mat. So I'm not going to mirror this. I'm actually going to go to the right side of my mat. So you'll just have to listen to my words maybe. And here, so there is a very pretty classic variation of moon salutation. I might be shifting it a little bit. Lift the heels up, lower the heels. Lift the heels up, lower. And just explore this. Do not hesitate to shift and do this at a wall. Yoga is about connecting to your body, not just doing what the teacher is telling you to do. Good. Now, as you pause with the heels down, the arms come up. And you might have the hands together up there, or just reaching the arms up so it's comfortable for your wrists. And then move to this, in some schools, called half moon pose. So you're moving to a big side stretch. This curve kind of looks like the moon. Half moon. Navel is lifted. You really strong legs here. And notice the feet, that pushing straight down. And then just go to the other side. Lift the chest. Don't crush your throat. Pull up through the legs. Strong lift up through the spine. And as you release, the arms go out and you step wide. Feet wide apart. Point your toes out to the side. Start to move to your Kalyasana. Knees bend. Let's do a couple of those. Straighten, bend your knees. So you can feel this connection through your feet. Straight down. Yeah, and then next time you bend your knees, you're going to bend your elbows, palms face in. Breathe, explore, holding this pose. Feel the space inside your body. Welcoming in whatever you feel. Good. As you let go, arms come down. So I'm going to move to triangle pose to my left. So your left foot pointing to your left. Right foot has to now shift so it points in. Keep hands on the hips maybe for a moment. Soft bend of left knee. As you lengthen out and explore the balance of this, maybe your left hand starts to move down the leg, and then gradually the legs really straighten. You'll feel like the quads, the thigh muscles pull up. And as they pull up, it's like, ooh, the navel draws in a little bit. Lengthen through the spine. All the way up to the crown of the head. Maybe bring that top arm up. So triangle pose is like a big morning stretch, really. It's just like, opening up. Good. Now that top arm is going to come down. You're going to face your bottom leg and just briefly just fold over that leg. That back right heel might shift a little bit. Follow just organic movement of draping over the left leg, even if it means a little bend of left knee. Grounding, breathing. It might feel good or like that it works better if you're a slightly shorter stance. So I brought my feet closer together. Good. And then walk your hands so they're both on the right side and rotate to your right so you're in a wide legged forward bend. And in this wide legged forward bend, do a back and forth. You bend one knee a little bit, and then you bend the other knee a little bit. And you just kind of go back and forth here. You could really bend the knee if you want to, just bigger back and forth. But soles of the feet really open. Good. And then as you go to your right side, we're going to do all of this on the right side. So I'm going to open the right foot to the right, face the right. So here's that big forward bend over the right leg. Be really attentive. How does it feel on this side? Waves of breath. Now, as you start to come up here, you might bend the right knee a little bit, coming up. So we're going to open to our triangle pose. So that right hand could stay on your right leg as you start to straighten that both legs. And again, think of just this morning stretch where you reach up, but you have to be grounded. Push into your feet. So morning stretch is lots of space. Around your heart, but sharp, strong legs. Little bend of right knee as you come up. Push into your feet to come all the way up. Good. Take your toes forward for a moment. And then our Kalyasana, our goddess pose. We open feet out to the side, bend our knees. You want to do just a little bit of movement here. Feel your spine as you're in your feet. Ground your feet. Reach your knees way out. That lift up to the spine. Throat relaxed. Bend your elbows. Now, space around your brain, around the back of your neck. Good. As you let this go, stepping that right foot over to the left. Feet now parallel, arms coming up. And let's do a little more back and forth with our half moon pose. Get that feeling of the navel, the action of your abdominal muscles really do work here. Fluid breath. Not pushing the body, rather getting into the delight of doing this work. You know, yoga is similar to meditation in that we will hit points in our practice that we are not comfortable. Like we really feel like, hey, I'm going past that comfort zone. But that's called growth. That's how we grow. So many ways. Release the arms down, do a little heel lift and lower. Just that little light, toes staying spread open. Good. And then pause, be still, just close your eyes, breathing, appreciating maybe that little smile on your lips as you let go of any idea of success or failure in your practice. You're just present. All I know is in this moment, I'm bringing space in. I'm exploring freedom of tension in this moment. And then move right down onto the floor. So as you come down, we're going to do one last little movement, one last little twist here. So lean back, take the feet wide apart, and then just start that floppy knee action back and forth. Loose space in your belly. And then drop knees to your right side and lift the left hip up. Rotate, take a little twist, but breathe and feel. Breathing, feeling the whole body. Releasing as you come towards the front. The knees go up and over. Lifting our right hip. And then lengthen the spine as you twist. Make sure, feeling and practicing feeling the body, going directly, watching the body. As you release, take legs in front of you. You just do one big forward bend. So my legs are just straight in front of me. I'm just going to reach forward. Ah. Good. And then just moving right onto your back into Shavasana. You know, one thing you can do at home is have your props right nearby so you can move right into Shavasana. So whether it's some blankets or something that you just want to drape your legs over, or that blanket to just fold right over. Taking a few deeper breaths. So however you've situated yourself, you could reflect, you could feel like, okay, is this working? Just aware of your arms. Do you just drop your arms down, tuck your shoulder blades under? Giving yourself this time in Shavasana, practice this pose wholeheartedly. It's a good pose to get to know mental distractions, how quickly they can come in, or um, disinterest. You might not be very interested in practicing. So I'll invite you to bring your full awareness to your lips. Notice, is there any tension around your lips? Consciously stay at the space of your lips, letting the lips gradually soften, knowing I'm letting go of tension at my lips. Maybe move this to the inside of your mouth. It's called self-compassion, where we see tension or stress and we move closer to it. Aware of your throat. Bringing awareness to your throat. Maybe you might just naturally move through your whole neck. You can use like a kind inner voice. You say to yourself, honey, you can release this tension around your neck, around your brain. Aware of your whole upper chest, that sweeping your awareness across your pectoral area and your whole rib cage, the skin on your face. Aware of your belly. As we move deeper into the body, we recognize there's a lot of areas in the body that we overlook or we neglect. And right now, we're bringing full awareness into the body with this wish to be free of tension, practicing letting go. You can say to yourself in the kind voice, honey, let go. Maybe your eyes soften, drop, let go of the weight of your legs. Any amount of softening or letting go. You might soften around your forehead and then notice that you need to do that again and again. We'll bring awareness now to your whole body. Whole body. Aware of your feet. Notice how your feet feel. And here's that morning stretch again. So the body decides on how to move back into the day. Could maybe have that intention of sustaining. So part of your awareness really stays in your body, kind of as your awareness stays in your belly. The belly stays really calm, helps you to stay grounded. The feeling of your feet as you come up, if you come up to seated right now. All of that strength along your spine. Think of it as that opposite of being spineless. Like, wow, there's that strength around my spine. Take palms together in front of the heart. Softness around your throat. Closing with the sound of Om. Taking a deep inhale. Three deep gratitude for the teachings and gratitude for all of you taking time to practice today. Thank you, everyone, so much for being here.